Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of CSGO News. I have been gone for way too long. 5 to 6 days on vacation was definitely enough for me. I got some sun down in Florida and I regretted every day waking up. I would check the news and I couldn't make a video about it. So I'm going to recap some old news for all of you and also touch on some new news that you guys don't know about quite yet or the details about. So expect the next 3 to 4 days to have daily CSGO News episodes, and trust me, it is so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back. Please leave a comment down below. But our first story today, guys, I want to touch on an old story that many of you guys probably heard about, but a big story, and that's the discussion of the current Cloud9 member Shroud and his retirement coming sometime in 2017 or more likely 2018. Now, he didn't give us too much clarity. I'll play the clip for all of you shortly, but Shroud does seem very hesitant about his devotion to the game of CSGO going forward. Now, it does seem likely, of course, Cloud9 is going to have plenty of options to replace this guy, but as of right now, the contention of iBuyPower players to replace him are not really in contention at all. ESL is still holding strong to those match-fixing bans, which means those iBuyPower players of Swag, Dazed, and Steel are still banned, but going forward, I'll touch on that very shortly here today. That could be a possibility going forward, and that may just be why Shroud is waiting out till 2018. So I'll play that clip for all of you. It does seem Shroud going forward will retire either in 2017 or 2018. Why he's waiting till 2018 though is maybe my theory is his organization owners or CEO are telling him to wait as long as possible, because sometime very soon in the future we could have iBuyPower players or other North American players who are very open to actually being signed. So going forward, here's what Shroud said about his retirement from CSGO.
When do you think you'll stop competing? In my eyes, I actually am set for like 2018.
Are you trolling? I don't even know if you're serious.
No, I'm serious. Like I mean, I've told pretty much everyone this. Like one more solid year.
So going forward and bouncing off that, for the potential North American pro players of iBuyPower to potentially return, I do want to bring back to your attention the Yogi Yalla, the company who actually sponsored Olaf Meister back in 2016. You guys remember he was in several commercials. It was very funny to watch. One of the first pro players to actually take on a commercial, especially for a yogurt company. A very funny commercial and a very cool thing to see. But Yogi Yalla actually hosted a tournament this past weekend, just a Yogi Yalla Cup, a very small tournament. But one of those teams who actually won the tournament, and actually JW's little brother Limpone was on this team, they took on the name #FreeIBP. Now, we've seen this over the past few months, especially over the past year or so, by Cloud9 members, especially like Stewie, has represented the #FreeIBP movement because Swag has stood in for several events. He's still on the Cloud9 organizational roster. Not obviously, he's only as a streamer and an analyst, but at the time being, Cloud9 members, North American members, and it's been a very, very frequent hashtag out there is FreeIBP. Even by European pro players out there, it seems likely that a lot of European pro players still want them to be freed. But yes, this team actually took on the name FreeIBP, and they did actually win the tournament, the Yogi Yalla Cup. Now going forward, they did this in lieu of the fact that, yes, the very own CEO at ESL and a very high up guy at ESL actually tweeted out this, and he said he was going to be meeting with players throughout the weekend and talking about match fixing bans amongst a long list of other things, guys. So it does seem slowly but surely, many of you know, several months ago, about 2 months ago, ESL did actually change the rule on backban players. So after 2 years, backban players could return. It does seem very likely sometime soon in the future, ESL will bend the rules yet again and allow match fixers to be back. For all of you guys who don't believe this, it seems almost guaranteed this will happen. So sometime in the near future, ESL should allow their events, guys, which means like big events like ESL Cologne, other offline events as well. We could have match fixers come back, and that means iBuyPower will technically halfway be back in the door, but Valve has yet to bend or even release any kind of statement about that. So ESL is bending the rules slowly but surely as the #FreeIBP movement continues, but Valve has yet to even put their foot out there. And it really seems on this whole North American iBuyPower situation, the stars are aligning for evil geniuses to come back into the scene. I have talked about this so many times in the past. If you guys want to search on my videos, evil geniuses potentially returning to CSGO. They had a great CS team. They are a notorious North American organization, not just for CS, but for other games out there as well. They are very well known, and their CEO actually tweeted out this past weekend. That is Peter Dager, otherwise known as PPD, and he is one of the most popular CEOs on Twitter right now, over 100,000 followers, and you guys can tell by just that amount, he is a very well-known guy, and especially as an organization, Evil Geniuses is very well known in the Counter-Strike scene, and they do potentially will be coming back to CSGO, as he wanted to talk to players potentially about getting a better idea about a CSGO team, or at least we can only hope. Now, people very upset about this because, of course, a long time ago, they were going to come back into CSGO. Unfortunately, though, they were actually owned by Twitch. Now, if you guys don't know the story, I'll give it to you very shortly. They were owned partially by Twitch, and that gave them a competitive advantage if they were to actually have a CSGO team. A lot of organizations in the North American scene thought that Twitch would prefer to play Evil Geniuses on their actual streaming page, and they promote them more, and it'd be very unfair. So several North American teams actually wrote to Twitch they would stop using their platform, and that is why Evil Geniuses potentially actually refrained from getting a CSGO team. That's why they stopped, because other North American teams threatened to stop using Twitch, and so Twitch, their owners of Evil Geniuses, had withdrawn the idea to have a CSGO team. Now Twitch no longer partially owns Evil Geniuses. They've become untied completely, so now it does seem more likely that Evil Geniuses will want to have a CSGO team. People are upset though, because if Evil Geniuses does come back to the North American scene, well, there's not too many top tier players in the North American scene right now that are not will sign to a team already. So people are very upset for a notorious organization like Evil Geniuses to come back. If they do sign a North American team, it could be a very lowly team out there. So of course Evil Geniuses could sign a European team still, but coming forward it could be really cool to see this new CEO. This CEO, Peter Dager, has only been the CEO for about 6 to 7 months, I do believe. He's new, he's eager, he's ready to attack, and very aggressive. So I cannot wait to see what Evil Geniuses does. This is a step in the right direction for all you EG fans out there. It does seem in the future he could come back to CSGO or whatever's next in the Counter-Strike region. He does seem to want a team in the future. And then some roster change news, some older news I want to touch on again for all of you. I want to talk about Team North, who is currently in the ESO Pro League semifinals. I want you all to know this transition and actual interest in Heroic Valde. Valde is on Heroic's bench right now. North does have interest in Valde. This interest did come before ESO Pro League. So if they do make the ESO Pro League finals, they're currently in the semifinals. We do not know going forward if this will affect their interest in Valde, but before this tournament even happened, North did have interest in Heroic bench member Valde. Now Heroic did bench Valde just a couple weeks ago for the ESL 1 Cologne qualifiers. They had Cadian stand in for that team, and they did manage to qualify for ESL Cologne in July. So they did very well with Cadian. So it does seem if everything goes right, here's what's going to happen. North will take on Valde, and Valde will actually replace AZ, North's newest member, who they acquired from FaZe Clan back in February. So unfortunately enough, he hasn't been a standout star for Team North. Now we could talk about separately if they do succeed in ESL Pro League finals, this could fall through. But still, AZ will be the one replaced by Valde, and Heroic would then pick up Cadian to replace Valde on their roster. It seems most likely, as Cadian was tweeting out things like this, it does seem he has big decisions coming up to join Heroic and leave his organization known as Team Rogue, although Team Rogue has not had a full roster for several months now, as they disbanded actually early in 2017. So it does seem likely going forward this could be a roster change, but who knows what ESL Pro League finals could actually could alter if they do manage to win. That is Team North. If they do manage to make the finals or win the tournament there, this all could go for nothing. So as of right now, Valde could go to North replacing AZ, and of course Cadian would join Team Heroic and actually have a great Danish team. For once, Cadian would actually be a permanent member for a roster. So going forward, that seems very likely to happen. Now also, I want to touch on a big update for all of you guys, a sweet update. Dust 2 actually had a remake for its mid doors. We've actually had the discussion in the past where the mid doors have that gap every single time, and it's been a big discussion for change for the past 2 weeks. Ever since Dust 2 it was removed from our competitive map pool play, it does seem a new update has come to Dust 2 and their mid doors, guys, as we actually have this new side door added. So if you guys can actually look on screen, we actually have new mid doors added. You can go through one way or the other. You can go directly through the doors itself, or even a cooler way, you can actually go through the side door as well to sneak up on your enemies. So it seems like a really cool update. I think Valve did a great job here, and that is going to be amazing to see gameplay of that, and how that actually changes competitive play. It's going to be really cool to see. Holy crap, yes, that was a terrible joke, I know, but I know some of you guys would have taken me seriously if I didn't tell you it was a joke. So that was a joke. As always, guys, hope you all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. It is so great to be back. It is currently 6:35 a.m., so hopefully this video will be up in about 2 hours. Thank you all for watching, guys. Leave a comment down below if you guys did enjoy the video. I will see you guys all tomorrow with more CSGO News, some great secret stories for all of you. And yeah, I'll see you all then. Live, love, laugh a lot. Remember, I like you, and